Hello, and welcome back to their Dokkan battle video. Obviously, you can see what's going on right now. There's been a lot of discussion over on the old Twitter.com about different characters and how they belong. Actually, let me close that tab. It's fine. But it's been a lot of discussion over a bunch of different characters, and I just wanted to kind of make my own comprehensive list because I've also been making my fair share of takes. So let's go ahead and just jump into this. Here are all the LRs I am going to be considering in my top 10 list. The only thing that I will say here is that this unit, right, the Team Universe 7, has not easy-aid yet in-game. I have seen exactly what they can do, though, but I don't have them in-game to use them myself. But I have seen plenty of footage of funniness that they can do. I will not be talking about them in here. I will probably update this once they do come out, but I don't think it's going to change all that much, all things considered. All right, so let's just hop in here with the first major thing, right? Now, I might be missing a couple characters, and if anything, I'll just add them in and then throw them in later, right? But let's just go ahead and start off with my first choice here. Now, I think this is where I'm going to immediately start getting into some controversial opinions, and that's just because this guy, Orange Piccolo, I'm not having on the list. Now, funny enough, right? A lot of people really do like him. And I understand why, but me personally, I am just less high on him than I am on a lot of other characters. And the reason I'm putting these guys above him, which is like the main reason why I'm making this video, right, is because I feel that comfortably, at least right now, the superhero team does not need Orange Piccolo anymore. Now, some of you might be looking at me and hearing me say that and think, you're insane. Orange Piccolo is amazing, and he's the best, and he's my Pookie Wookie, and I love him so much. But I ask you, who are you dropping for Orange Piccolo? Right. Who are you swapping out? Piccolo is like your sixth option on the team at this point. Because you have Beast Gohan, you have the new UI, you have Gogeta, you have MUI Goku, Blue Evolution Vegeta. Now you have your final slot open. All 5 of those characters that I just said are basically invincible. They have turns of complete invincibility where they literally cannot be killed no matter what happens. They don't need Orange Piccolo. They just don't. And if you put Orange Piccolo on there, what ends up happening is now you have to think about, oh, well, I have Orange Piccolo. I need to make sure that he gets hit. And in these fights right now, I have seen numerous clips and have used my rainbowed Orange Piccolo in these events, and he is getting bodied, right? He is only able to tank maybe like 1 or 2 hits post super attack, and that's it. And that's not enough for him to get built up to the point where even after his intro wears up, he is perfectly fine against normals. He's still going to be taking damage once his intro leaves, and then you literally just have that one turn of the giant form, which, mind you, in Kid Buu does literally nothing but make Kid Buu stronger and remove his super attack. It does absolutely nothing. It doesn't do any damage because it's all normals. It's all like fist attacks. And then you just completely just waste that turn, and then you have now a hyper-powered Kid Buu who's doing over 1 million damage normals, and he's just not super attacking that turn, and then the next turn he's going to smack you for a 3 million damage super attack. So Piccolo actively hurts you in Kid Buu by doing literally nothing. And then in the new fights against Blue Evolution Vegeta and the Evo Ken character, he literally does nothing but die. Because the rest of your team does not need Orange Piccolo, and by the time Orange Piccolo comes back and could use his giant form, the fight's over. You don't need Orange Piccolo anymore. Which is why I think having this unit, right, the Evo Ken character, just makes a lot more sense. Because the enemies are just dying, and they're not dying. Like, if you have this character as your 6th option on your team, they're going to be completely fine floating around and creating rainbow orbs and doing a bunch of million damage. They tear through Kid Buu. They have debuffs on every single one of their super attacks. They have damage reduction. They have the rainbow orb changing. They have that invincible turn when they have their active skill active. They are incredibly powerful, and I see no reason why I'm not just going to be running this character as my 6th option over Orange Piccolo, who has a mechanic that I literally cannot make use out of on the superhero team. I just don't need it anymore. I don't. And I don't understand how people can't see that, because you can't put him in slot 1 anymore. He's not taking enough for that. And then even in slot 2, he's still taking damage post super attack. Like I just can't reasonably put him on anywhere of here. So that's why I firmly believe that specifically on the superhero team or on LRUI's team, you just do not need Orange Piccolo anymore. He's just not needed. The rest of the characters are so damn good that you just don't need him anymore. Now, moving on off of these two, because this is the main discussion I wanted to talk about, at least for right now. We got the Gamas. I'm going to put them at number 9 here. Now, I actually do really like the Gamas, despite not personally owning them myself. I have used them plenty of times in different methods on other people's accounts, on private servers. I've used them a bunch, right? And personally, I think they're just really solid. They don't really have anything that I worry about too much besides like maybe their first turn if you get kind of unlucky, and then if you're not able to get proper orbs. But they do work really, really well on like the special post team. I like them a lot on there. I think they can definitely be really effective. It's just like that's pretty much it. Like they serve their thing perfectly fine. They do pretty good damage. They do decent tanking. They have their 2-turn support, and then they kind of move on. There's not really a whole lot to talk about with the Gamas. I know people are like, oh, the Gamas are underrated, blah, blah, blah. No, they're not. They've always been the worst out of the 4 LRs of the anniversary, but like it's not to the point where it's like that big a deal. So that's just how I personally feel about things. Moving on, got Burori himself. Now, where is Burori? Now, Broly has been getting buffs pretty much the entire year. His team has been getting better and better and better and better, and I love that for him. The only problem is he suffers from domain syndrome, where you want the domain update like horribly. And specifically for Super Bosses, right? The Super Bosses team has a problem right now where one of their best slot 1 options, Broly, Chila, and Lemo, is completely unavailable in the hardest fight in the entire game. So it kind of makes it a little bit hard to run Super Bosses when you're down an entire slot 1 character. Now, technically, you could still run Broly, Chila, and Lemo in that new Blue Evolution Vegeta fight, because they'll be useful in the first phase, but in the second phase, they literally can't do anything, and you just kind of have to pray that you have them on the same rotation as a Cell Max Taunt, and then you might be fine, right? And Broly will more than likely end the fight before they even come back. It's just that I don't like having that kind of a risk with this team, and I feel like until Super Bosses gets a bit more rounded out, maybe until we can actually have like different kinds of other protector mechanics on this team, Broly is just kind of in that position where he is incredibly powerful. You just can't really make full use out of him. So that's just kind of my quick thoughts on Broly, right? There's not really a whole lot to say because like we've seen what he can do for a very long time. Next up, we got Buhan. Now, I actually really, really like Buhan. Buhan has like insane potential. Where the hell is he? There he is. So Buhan, he has insane potential, right? He has a stacking, he has blah, 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 blah. He has the seal. We actually have fights where we can make use of his seal now. If it is ever going to, like, switch over to this one. Where is it? Yeah, this. I believe it's this one. What's an Ultra Super Attack? I think so. Oh, no. Seals the enemy's turn for 5 turns. This actually plays into effect in specifically the Master Roshi stage, because that Roshi does, like, 2.7 million or something stupid on his super attack, but he can be sealed. So you're actually able to finally use this. The only issue with Buhan, right, is that he is reliant on having his guard and dodge active. And like his specific team does struggle a little bit against the new fight, right? Blue Evolution Vegeta. It's so hard out front that it's a bit hard to get Buhan stacks when the rest of your team is either type disadvantage or susceptible to damage in those very first 2 turns. So you're kind of just like really hoping that Buhan is able to dodge everything, and if he doesn't, he's going to get hit for a very large amount of damage. But that doesn't mean that Buhan is bad. It's just that he's not built for this current immediately incredibly strong fight. He's built for ones that are a bit longer, that give you that little bit of time that you can actually build up in. So I do still think that Buhan is incredibly powerful. I just don't think he is like as ridiculously bonkers as people are trying to make it seem like he is. All right. How do I want to do this? Because I think I have made a small error. All right. Gogeta's going right here. Now, Gogeta is great. Love him. His taunt's amazing. I've said this a lot when talking about Beast Gohan and UI Goku, that the difference between Gogeta and those two is how long it takes for Gogeta to become like your ultimate team protector man, right? You get Gogeta on turn 1, you float him off on turn 4, he transforms, and on turn 6 you can use the taunt. And on turn 6 onward is when he is in I am your best buddy protector mode, right? So you run into this situation where Gogeta's starting turn matters a lot to how useful he can be. He is still going to be providing a little bit of power by, giving him his Rainbow Orb, changing his super attacks do good damage. He does have dodge in blue, right? And he also has his 70% chance to nullify the super attacks, right? The blast based ones. And there is definitely some synergy there between him and then the new UI's domain, right? Where this guy's going to get the full buff of the domain and is going to be able to dodge in every single one of the events and get that extra 10% dodge chance, right? So he does have like really good synergy with the new UI. It's just, it takes him so long to get into his like, I'm ready to help you out mode that it really like, it hurts to put him as low as I did. Just because like I personally like can see myself having issues getting into him if he ends up in like slot 3 at the start of the turn. It can be very, very annoying. That's literally the only criticism for Gogeta, right? His defense is a little low. He is technically dodge or die once he does transform. But again, you have that full turn, and then he has that additional 10% dodge in the domain for the first turn. So it does like help out. Plus he has the heal, which is really, really nice. So I do really like Gogeta. It's just, it takes so goddamn long for him to be able to protect people. And I think that matters kind of a lot. Now, okay. So here's where I messed up. Because of how I ordered this, I think I do technically have to move all my characters up one. And you're going to understand in a second, right? So I'll move everybody up. This was just for bait. This first part was just for bait. I'll move everybody up one. Here's where we get into some controversy. Now, I'm saying this purely as someone whose account is not like a Giga Whale. I just want you to know that right now. I don't have a whale account. I have an aged account. My account has been in the game since year 3. So when it comes to old EZA characters, I tend to have them rainbowed. And when it comes to brand new characters, I either don't have them or have them at 55% and maybe a dupe or two. Here's where we get into problems, and I kind of mentioned this earlier. I'm not completely settled on this, but I just want to say it. I'm going to do this now, and I don't want y'all to get mad at me. This is how I feel right now. If we're talking about the current state of the hardest fight in the entire game, that Blue Evolution, right, fight in the Tournament of Power Red Zone, this makes a lot of sense to me. And the reason I'm saying this is because Cell Max lost access to one of his best partners, which I talked about earlier when we talked about Broly and Broly, Chila, and Nemo. You can't really use them in there. And Cell Max with big bad bosses and Cell Max without big bad bosses is a massive, massive difference, right? He becomes so much better when he has that active. And since all of the big bad boss units are terrible in that new fight, it is really hard for me to put Cell Max this high, or like above these guys, because of the fact that Cell Max, if you want to optimize your super bosses team, you run either Broly or Goku Black as your lead, and then you get a friend Cell Max, right? You get a little bit less leader skill buff, but you have the access of 2 different taunts. Now, Cell Max himself is great. I have already had my Cell Max die. In slot 1, turn 1, big bad boss is active and support, and he died in that new fight. It is really, really rough in there. Now, I'm just saying this purely because of the fact that this one fight that is incredibly powerful is really rough for him, and I have a feeling that it's going to keep being rough, not because he is bad, but because the pieces that make him better aren't good enough to keep him afloat, especially if we're going to get more dodge canceling fights. It's just going to get a little bit iffy for Cell Max. If Cell Max gets a better team, like if part 2 LR transforming Jiren has like a revive or a taunt or hopefully not a domain, right? Then we're going to be in a little bit better of a scenario. But again, that's another character without big bad bosses, and you have your issue with the Super Bosses team being very iffy and gross. So, again, it's not anything about Cell Max. Cell Max is fantastic himself. Cell Max, regardless of if we were talking about like individual unit performance, is like number 2. He's amazing. But right now, with the current hardest fight in the game being Evolution Blue Vegeta, and like if you like me and you got a copy of Cell Max and you have like Broly and you want to run Cell Max in there, you can't do it. He just gets washed. Rainbow Cell Max probably does fine, but I've seen Rainbow Cell Max take damage, and my 55% Cell Max post Super is taking damage, like a lot, from super attacks. And then the rest of the team just dies because they're not good enough. So, again, that's just how personally I feel about Cell Max right now. I think he's still amazing. Cell Max himself would be like here, typically. But personally, I feel like he's right here. Now we get to this topic. My bait from earlier, right, where he wasn't even top 10. So, LRMUI Goku and LR Blue Evolution Vegeta. Now, where are they at? They should be in here somewhere. I really should have done this a bit more organized, right? But, yeah, they're right next to each other. So, with these two guys, right, with the inclusion of Tech UI's domain, I fail to see that significant of a difference between the two of them, right? Some of you might be saying, oh, Evolution Blue Vegeta's revive is a bit easier to get. You just got to get hit 5 times, right? Which is true. And the new fight against Evolution Blue Vegeta hits a lot of times. Like, so many goddamn times. They do so many hits. Like, can we bring up... I was Googling how to spell niche, by the way. I didn't even end up using it because I can't spell. But if we bring up how many times these motherfuckers attack, right? Where is it at? Yeah, it's right here. Look at how many goddamn times these guys attack. They attack 12 times in a turn with 2 super attacks. The chances that these guys put 5 attacks in one slot is really damn high, right? So you're probably going to be able to get this active. But at the same time, with MUI Goku, he is now able to dodge in every single fight in the game, which was a big difference between him and Evolution Blue Vegeta before, right? He now has a perfect linking partner in LRMUI Goku, like the tech one, transformed. He gets that additional 10% dodge. People now finally understand how his dodge works. So he can get up to 100% dodge if he dodges a couple times, right? And this fight hits so hard that even characters like Beast Gohan, where is he? Like Beast Gohan, are taking damage from the super attack term. What that means is, since our units are so good that they don't instantly die, but they're taking damage, it means that you're more comfortably able to be under that 70% HP threshold. Which means the condition of the revives is not as big of an issue as it was before, right? Because before, what would happen is you would either be at full HP or you'd be dead. But with the current modern superhero team, unless you're running someone like goddamn Orange Piccolo, right? You're just gonna eat the damage and live with like 50% HP because our units are just that crazy, right? Now, the only way you can even really die is if like your very weakest 6th option character is getting smacked by a super attack and then a bunch of normals after that and they just die, right? If you get unlucky like that, that's fine. But the majority of your team, Beast Gohan, the new UI, this guy, Blue Evolution Vegeta, they are eating these super attacks for like 400k on a 700k HP team. So you're constantly not only having this active, but on the other rotation, you can have this active for free based on how many times they're hitting. So they're a major difference. The revive condition is no longer an issue, and then LRUI Goku's domain is making it so that HLMUI is dodging in every single fight anyway. So I don't really see a difference between the two. It doesn't matter anymore, in my opinion. You can like whatever one you want a little bit better if you feel like, oh, I like having the guard first. Oh, I like having the dodge turn, right? I don't think it matters anymore. It doesn't, in my opinion. I think these guys are now perfectly exactly the same like they should have been on release, right? I don't see a glaring difference between the two of them anymore. And that's just personally how I feel. Now, we talk about this guy and these guys. Okay, so obviously, this is how it's going to be, and then I'll put all of these down here. We get to talk about these guys again. Now, I made an entire video specifically talking about the difference between these guys before LRUI Goku dropped. I was not wrong. At a single point in time. After using LRUI Goku in game, again, I have him 55%, and I have Beast Gohan 55%. Beast Gohan is just too good. He is incredibly tanky. He doesn't take any damage from anything, except for this fight, where these guys are doing so much damage at the start that they're able to do about 200k damage to Beast Gohan, turn 1, just because of how much damage they do. Right? Beast Gohan is able to take a little bit of damage in there, but he also has this if you're running an orange Piccolo, which, I mean, I don't feel like you really need to anymore, right? But he's also going to super attack. He's going to have all this damage reduction. He's going to guard. He's going to do all these crits. He's going to blah, 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 blah. He has the easiest taunt in the game, which is the main difference between him and UI Goku. And then and then you're just over, and you run 2 of them and you win. And it just works. And then you have this guy who is incredibly powerful. I really think his base form is underrated by a lot of people. 70% dodge, 70% crit, the damage reduction before he gets hit, the guard after he gets hit to make sure that he doesn't instantly explode. Again, I've posted videos of this guy dodging and not dodging, right? Y'all have seen the clips. I can pull them up myself if I need to, right? I'm not being biased here and saying that, like, oh, I think this guy's amazing, blah, 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 blah. Y'all have seen him fail for me, but he hasn't died. He's taken damage, but he hasn't really died. The only time I've had this guy die is when I got incredibly unlucky and he did not dodge multiple attacks from a multiple turn built up Int Kid Buu, which is the hardest attack in the game he can possibly eat, right? And that was the only time I've had this guy die. Again, the main difference is this. Getting to God mode. The getting to God mode between him and Beast Gohan is significantly different. And it's purely based on that active skill condition. Can be activated starting from the turn after this character receives an attack. Can be activated starting from the 5th turn from first appearance. That is such a glaring difference because this guy, transformed UI, is easily better than Beast Gohan. That 1 turn of guaranteed dodge, the massive amount of ally support that he's giving, the crit counter dodges that are doing 20 million attack stats, right? He's insane. But you have to get there. And to get there, you have to wait 5 turns from his first appearance, which can either be turn 5, turn 6, or turn 7. Whereas with Beast Gohan, not only is he the best slot 1 character in the entire game, he also gets his Team Protector mechanic on turn 1. And I made an entire video explicitly saying that it probably wasn't going to change, and people are going to overrate MUI Goku. And now people are doing the opposite, where they're underrating UI Goku. So I'm just here to say, personally, UI Goku, in my personal opinion, is like the second best unit in the game. Just because not only is his base form completely fine, I don't have any problems with his base form, but he just has that God mode where he goes MUI and everything just dies, and then he makes these guys even better. These guys, right, both MUI Goku and Blue Evolution Vegeta, in their domain, are so easily better than Cellmax. I don't think it's a question at all, right? You can be like, oh, what about Cellmax's Team Protector mechanic? They have one too. Oh, what about Cellmax's high 15 million defense stat? They don't need it. They have their mechanics to make it so that they're basically the same amount of tankiness. Oh, what about Cellmax's 30 million damage? Both of them are doing 30 million damage now. I don't think it matters. I think these guys inside of his domain are comfortably better than Cellmax. Comfortably. With easier Team Protector mechanic activation. Because these guys can both be activated on their second turn. MUI Goku can even be activated on his first turn. Cellmax, it's fourth turn. So he just makes them significantly better. He's just not quite as good as Beast Gohan. Now, if you could have LRUI, like transformed UI, the entire time, yeah, he'd probably be better than Beast Gohan for free. He's absolutely ridiculous. And I do think he's going to get even stupider once like this unit actually does drop in game. Again, the only reason they're not on here is because of the fact that they're not Easy A yet. When they do Easy A, I'm just going to say this now. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm not now, but in a couple days, that's what's gonna happen. Now, these guys down here aren't ordered, and I don't really feel like talking about them right now. They're just other units that I feel like fit a solid niche, and you can actually use them pretty well, pretty effectively. They're probably in like the 15 ranges, right? I don't really care. It's probably something like this, right? This guy is specifically for Kid Buu, by the way. But yeah, that's just how I feel currently about the current stance of the game in relation to the new hardest fight in the game, Blue Evolution Vegeta. Now, by the end of the Tanabata celebration, we're going to have significantly more hard fights, and this could change. And I'll probably update this list once that does happen. But for right now, this is how I feel, and I'm very confident in this, and I will defend this position. So, if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments down below. I am more than welcome to hear everybody out and hear their opinions. But this is just currently how I feel about the current state of the game after doing I've done like as many runs as you possibly could do in the Blue Evolution stage. I've been with like every single team of the game. Okay, so this is just how I feel right now. Again, let me know how you guys feel in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys all in the next one.